Hi, I'm Chris Bergwald, Director of Adult Faith Formation with the Diocese of Sioux Falls.
I'm Eric Gallagher, the Director of Adolescent Faith Formation for the Diocese of Sioux Falls.
And this is our fifth video on Sherry Weddell's book, Forming Intentional Disciples. And this is the chapter, Eric, where she, in chapter 5, she introduces the idea of the thresholds. The next several chapters, I'll talk about these thresholds. Chapter 5 focusing on all of them, and then the first one. So the thresholds are this... The idea that we all go through, and maybe we go back and forth, but there's a journey that we all make as we grow in discipleship, as we become a disciple, whether we're a teenager or adult. When we go from a point of not being a disciple to Christ to becoming a disciple, there's this journey that we make. And Sherry uses another book written by a couple of evangelical campus ministers who found that in their experience they saw people moving through these thresholds. And Sherry found in her experience the same thing is true. And it makes sense to me that there are certain commonalities. The first one, which we're going to talk about, is trust, but that we move through all of these thresholds at some point, and to me, this is an important concept and tool that we can use when it comes to evangelization, when it comes to discipleship and catechesis. That we recognize that people don't just go from not interested to a full-blown disciple. We know that, but maybe having this roadmap can be a helpful tool to understanding that.
I think one of the most frustrating things that we have in the church is we've tried to do catechesis to people who are not disciples, and she mentions that right off the bat in the chapter of catechesis is intended to actually greater mature disciples and to take disciples to a deeper level, and that's laid out in other catechetical documents of the church as well. And so recognizing that some youth, like for those catechists that are listening to this, or those parents that are listening to this, and they're trying to teach them these hard lessons of the church, what the thresholds teach us is if their ears aren't open, they're not going to hear it.
Right.
And so the thresholds show us that sometimes we have to start even before this, and our efforts to teach are not going to be effective unless they actually care. And that we can say things to them, but sometimes it's just like throwing it up against a brick wall, and
Right.
and we hope that it sticks sometimes. And so that the thresholds are incredible because they lead us through this process of, I want this person to know Christ, but for me to first invite them into a relationship with Christ, I need to understand that they need to trust me.
Yep.
Because they're not going to follow me to Christ if they don't trust me first.
Yeah, so that's that first threshold, the importance of trust. And again, this is, to me, the whole idea of relationship is so important here. The job of an evangelist or of a catechist is to introduce someone to and lead them closer to Christ. And so whenever you're introducing somebody to somebody else, if they don't trust you, why are they going to want to meet this other person? So beginning by having a relationship with the person you're catechizing. It's not, as you said, it's not catechesis yet, properly speaking. With the person you're evangelizing, so that they're open. So if they get interested, they have that level, that relationship of trust with you that everything else can build on. You know, the street corner preaching thing. Again, grace is incredible, and God can do amazing things, but usually it's not through strangers that the gospel spreads. It's through relationships that are already there.
That helps us to understand that you can't mass produce disciples. Right. And in so many ways, when we try to do religious education, even some of the great things that we do, like the Catholicism series and stuff, we start in a large group and we can proclaim this message, but there's reasons we break into small groups is so that you can really give a person what they need where they're at. And so in a lot of religious education classrooms, we could have 15 to 18 kids and we just preach one message to all of them. And again, we hope that some of them get it, and we get excited when one or two of them do get it. And a lot of times a catechist or someone can take credit for that. Oh, I got a couple kids really excited. But I would say most of the time it's because something else, that trust, that threshold, has gone through in other areas of their life, not in the classroom. So they're ready to go to that next level because of other things, not really because of the catechist. And so they can be effective, but what we're realizing is discipleship has to be very personal, and we have to take the time to figure out where people are at and lead them down that path of
Don't presume
discipleship.
they're already there, but see where they're at and do what we can to bring them to the next level.
Absolutely.